I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong.
Hi, I'm JB. Isn't it funny how the human mind works and what seems so simple can be very hard to understand sometimes? Like compound interest and why it matters a lot. Compound interest is said to be the world's eighth wonder by Albert Einstein. We humans are built to think linear. We know that if we catch a fish today, we eat fish this day. If we catch 2 fish, we can eat for 2 days, and so on. That's how we're wired. We can think in a linear fashion and understand linear growth. But when something starts to multiply and does it exponentially, our brains don't seem to be able to project that far out. For example, the good old test with a penny a day or a dollar a day, that's a great example. For example, what would you rather have? $1 million right now, cash in hand, or $1 today, $2 tomorrow, $4 the day after, and so on. So doubling the amount each day for 30 days. $1 today, 2 tomorrow, 4 the day after, 8, and so on. Well, 1 million we can understand.
$1 million.
And I bet most people will choose the $1 million. But getting $1 day one, doubling every day, we usually can calculate, let's say 10, 12 days or so. Except if you are real good at math or have a programming background like I have, then you probably know your bits and bytes, and maybe, just maybe, you can calculate or at least remember the first 15 or 16 days. But after that, you're probably not able to calculate it anymore. Let's try that out. Day 1, 1. Day 2, 2. Day 3, 4. 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024, 2048, 4096, 8192, 16,384, 32,768, 65,536. Well, this is where I give up. What's that, 17 days? So we still have 13 more to go? And believe me, when you see the final amount, you will really be amazed. Do you care to make a guess on the final amount? Well, let's see. 65,536? 131,001. Blah, blah, I give up. Just look at the numbers on the screen. And look how the numbers get higher and higher and higher because, of course, they are doubling. On the 30th day, you would get $536,870,912. So, starting at day 1 with $1 and doubling that amount for 30 days, you would end up with over $1 billion in total. $1,073,741,823 to be exact. Wow, that's wild. That's an incredible amount, and I would never have guessed that $1 starting from day 1, doubling for 30 days, could become over $1 billion.
Billions?
But what is the point I'm trying to make here? Well, even small beginnings can become enormous amounts if they compound over time. So compounding and time. These are the key ingredients. So the earlier you start investing, the faster your money will compound. And yes, in the beginning it doesn't feel like you're getting anywhere, but suddenly the amount reaches a point where the compounding effect really matters. Let's do a simple real-life example. If you invested in the S&P 500 in, let's say, January 1990, yes, I know, one of the worst possible times to start investing. At least that was what people thought back then. The Iraq War was going on and we were in a recession. But that's somewhat the point. Time in the market and buying when everybody else is fearful. Eventually the market will rise over time. So, let's see how that would compound. The compound annual growth of the S&P 500 from January 1990 until today, the 17th of February 2023, is 9.80%, which is almost 10%. And it could be probable to make 10% annually over time, especially with a portfolio like the one I showed in my video of probably the best ETF portfolio ever. But let's just say we get the annual 10%. We start off with investing $1,000, and every month we invest $100 like clockwork every month, $100 in for the whole duration. Let's say you're 20 years old today and will need the money at the age of 60, that's 40 years. So we put in $1,000 to start with, $100 every month for 40 years. We get 10% every year. Yes, some years it's 30, but 10% on average. That would give us $686,108,000 in 40 years. That's pretty good. Remember, we weren't investing that much, but it's pretty damn good. If you look at the contribution curve, you can see that's linear and really low. That's pretty simple to understand. One curve is exponential and one is linear. But look at the total portfolio value. It's slowly rising, and around year 15, it really starts to take off. And from that point, it just gets an incredible boost with every year. The snowball is now at a size where it picks up a lot more with every turn. Yes, it's not quite as good as doubling every year, but it still works, and it really works well. Did you know that if you're at the age of 20 invested $10,000 in the S&P 500 using the same 10% annual return, and you never invested again, not put a single dollar in the portfolio ever again, only the initial $10,000. Power of compounding and time would give you at least $730,000 at the age of 65.
Wow.
Imagine now that you found a mix of ETFs or some single stocks yielding 12% a year for 45 years. Then you would have over 1.6 million at the age of 65. So 1.6 million at the age of 65 with only one investment and just holding the portfolio and never touching it again? Don't tell me that isn't easy. It couldn't be any easier.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy.
I actually made a portfolio like that back in 2015. And when these, let's call them crashes, corrections occur, I invested a lot more to get that extra boost. And for instance, back in 2020, COVID crisis, I put in all the money I could scrape together. And that made my compound annual growth rise to over 73%. Now we're talking exponential growth. Of course, that won't last, but the money I put in at the market lows made my curve go up a lot more. And as I'm mostly a growth investor, that portfolio was with the Vanguard Technology Fund, VGT. So instead of selling a lot when or before markets crash, I instead buy more and do that consistently every month as long as it lasts. It's dollar cost averaging, and it really works well when the markets retract or correct. Here I should mention that you shouldn't be afraid to sell a stock or a company when the story or fundamentals change. Take Facebook, Meta for instance. Meta was around 8% of my portfolio. So even a great company like Meta can be exchanged with another one when something else will give me a higher return over time. So, quick recap. To get the benefit of compounding, start early as possible. The more you can put in at the beginning, the better. Try to be as frugal as possible, as long as you can, preferably when you're young, so you can invest as much as possible very early. Stay consistent, keep investing regularly. Only change your stock allocations if the fundamentals change. And then just sit back and use the power of time and compounding. Let the money work for you. Don't work for money, let money work for you. Trust me, if you can do this, you will eventually become rich, and the earlier you start, the earlier you reach the point where you can live a comfortable life without ever having to work for money or worry about money again. I hope you found some value in this video, and if you did, please tap the like button. Remember, the best investment you can make is in you. The more you learn, the more you earn. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but mistakes make you strong. Let's let's break it down for a minute. I want the crown, I'm gon' get it. You hear me loud, man, I'm winning. Yeah, Charlie Sheen will be grinning. These ladies know that I'm sinning, and this is just the beginning. I'm closing in the ninth inning. There ain't no point in resisting. Living